Good evening, everybody. My name's Bryan Peachey, and we're making a film, and the subject is The Virgin Cosmos, Solving the Mysteries of Everything. Now, this is quite a wide topic, as you can imagine, and we're also writing a book on the same subject. Potentially this could be the most important revelation ever made to man. I hope you're able to stay with me on this because it's going to require a great deal of concentration and imagination to handle the subject. Now, by way of introduction, I should say that as far as I'm concerned, this is something like 60 years of not exactly work, but thinking. This is not my subject, I have to say. First of all, I'd like to say that one of the things that caught my imagination when I was a young teenager was the Greek philosophers. Now, the Greek philosophers, about 2,500 years ago, had no scientific access, they had no instruments, no methods of measuring things, but they solved an amazing selection of problems by just thinking about it, philosophizing. And there was one particular philosopher called Democritus, I'd hope he's pronounced, and he actually developed the atomic hypothesis. Now he, by dint of, this is a rather simple explanation, but by dint of thinking about matter, and then imagining cutting it in half again, eventually he said that you can't cut it to any further smaller proportion. So that becomes the atom. He then actually worked out how the atom was going to be structured. So by dint of thinking about things, it's possible to solve things. And so what I'd like to say is that I've thought about this for a very long time, so I hope I've arrived at a solution that you find believable. The second part of my evolution as a teenager was science fiction. I used to read a lot of science fiction books, such as Fred Hoyle, Isaac Asimov and so on. And there's one particular story, it was only a short story, that I'm going to just tell you about because I think it's very important. And this was in the early days of radio telescopes, and there was a scientist working in a university, and he started picking up a lot of electrostatic on his radio telescopes. And eventually he discovered that there was some form of cloud of electronics out in outer space. And it started to communicate with him. And eventually it turned out to be a cloud of pure intelligence that just wandered around space. And it was able to communicate to this professor in English. And eventually the cloud it made it known that he was trying to solve the mystery of everything. And they communicated for a few days, and then suddenly the cloud in a massive electrostatic disappeared. And the last message was, I think I've solved it, but it's too much for me to handle. When I read it, I thought, one day I'm going to solve the mystery of everything, but I don't want it to drive me mad while I'm doing it. So I ask all of you to be quite relaxed about this, and if it does become the answer to everything, please don't let it drive you mad like it did the electrostatic cloud of intelligence. The third item that I wanted to talk to you about was Albert Einstein. Now, Albert Einstein has introduced mankind to really the answer to almost all the mysteries of the universe through his equation E = mc squared, which you will know is energy equals mass times a constant squared. Now, what Albert Einstein has told us is that energy can be transferred into matter, and that is the key to everything that I'm going to talk to you about throughout this entire piece. And also it tells you that you need an awful lot of energy to make a little bit of matter. Because if you look at the E, it equals mass times a constant squared. The constant is the speed of light, I believe. So it is a huge number, so you need an awful lot of energy to make a bit of matter. The fourth one is Isaac Newton, the law of gravity. I won't develop that at this particular point because I have a diagram later to talk about the law of gravity. But you will find almost immediately we discover what gravity is. Now, I believe it to be true to say that mankind has not yet worked out what gravity is. We call it the attraction between two masses, but we don't know what causes that attraction And very early on in this piece I will tell you my explanation for what gravity is. Now the fifth item is the birth of the universe, or it's called the Big Bang. Very roughly, scientists have shown that 14.5 billion years ago there was nothing, and then there was a huge explosion, and out of that explosion came all the matter and the energy and the force, which we call our universe. Now, scientists said there was nothing before that, and I personally could not accept there was nothing before that. So I have worked in my mind what was before that, because something was before that, we all know. And the good thing is that scientists are beginning to accept that there was something before that. But what there was has not yet been worked out, and I hope to give you the solution. The other thing is that there was an implication that only our universe had this event. Scientists are beginning to talk now about other universes, and again I will explain how that fits into the mystery of everything. So that's the introduction of how I got to where I am today, and I hope that the things that intrigue me will intrigue you as much.